Hey everybody, it is me here, Mr. Truth, and in today's video, I am going to be building the worst possible NFL team you could ever imagine to assemble in the first place. This video sort of came to me as a random sort of spur of the moment, I suppose, for lack of a better term, sort of thing. It was a thought that sort of popped up into my mind fairly recently, so I decided to act on it in the most sort of logical, reasonable way I as a human being can do, which is make a video about it, because I, have a YouTube channel. I haven't fucking uploaded in a while, but, off-season content is hard to come up with, folks. I'm gonna keep it $1.50 with you all in this one. That's just how it is. I've been struggling for ideas, but, I just felt like making this video because, not a lot of other people on this, platform made a video on trying to build the worst NFL teams ever. So in this video, there's going to be two teams, Team A and Team B. Those will be the teams in this video, and I will be trying to construct the perfect roster of complete and utter scrubs. Now, for each team, there will be a quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex players, which means it could be any offensive player, and 2 defensive spots. So 2 players on, the defensive side of the football in today's video. So I don't think I need to go into much more detail. I think what I need to do is actually get down to the meat and potatoes of today's scenario, which is building the worst team of scrubs you can even imagine, even possibly imagine, in the National Football League. So, folks, I guess without further ado, we're going to get into it by starting off with the aptly named Team A. And I think these teams are sort of evenly matched up, I suppose, but in a hypothetical world, I don't know. Let's just stop babbling, man. Let's just get straight into the point here. Team A's quarterback is going to be current Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson. If there was ever a definition of stormtrooper accuracy for a QB in the NFL, Anthony Richardson would fit that to an absolute T. To simply put, absolute perfection that we've never seen at the quarterback spot before. When I'm talking about erratic accuracy, Anthony Richardson fits the exact definition of erratic accuracy. And pair that with horrendous decision making and lapses in judgment and just an inability to read a defensive coverage and just the lack of feel for the game at the QB position. Looks more like an athlete than a quarterback at the quarterback position. He's the perfect quarterback to start off today's list. We all know how shit his stats are. We don't need to go over those in this video here today. Richardson is just a straight scrub at quarterback, and he guarantees we're getting an ass quarterback for one of these teams. So it's a great way to start it off. And an even better way to start it off is our running back, which is Cleveland Browns draft selection, 2nd overall, I believe, Trent Richardson. This guy is infamous for having probably the worst vision of any running back in the history of the NFL. I'm sorry, but you could take a practice squad running back from 2004, and they would have much better field vision than Trent Richardson had. He had good speed, good burst. He could break off a tackle here and there, but his vision was quite simply unacceptable. I mean, the motherfucker is like Stevie Wonder out there. Like, he doesn't see a goddamn thing out there on the field. He can't recognize holes. He doesn't, he can't really read the rushing lanes. He probably doesn't even really read the playbook. He just, goes out there and, when it sounds like a run, okay, well, I'll get the football and I'm going to run with it. I don't really think he knew the playbook, and he clearly didn't understand a thing about how the NFL operated because, look at him out there. He's running into crowds of people. It's like he was almost borderline obsessed with being hit by the other team. And if that was his job, is to, let me get hit by the other team instead of, bursting through the open hole that my line has given me, then he was probably the GOAT running back at running into the backs of his own linemen and getting tackled a yard behind the line of scrimmage for a loss. He was the GOAT at that and nothing else because he was a complete abysmal scrub that probably will never be talked about on this channel after today's video. But that was our running back for Team A, Trent Richardson. Now, wide receiver. Who is our wide receiver number 1? Well, it's none other than the infamous Chase Claypool. Now, more specifically, Bears and Dolphins Chase Claypool, because I think Chase Claypool as a rookie was a pretty solid player, but his skills really deteriorated over time. The quickest manner I've ever seen a decent wide receiver have his skills sort of vanish away from him has to go to Chase Claypool. But he was not only a diva, a drama queen, a cancer on the football field, and just completely incompetent. He was also a horrendous wide receiver in the later stages of his NFL career. I'm pretty sure he had like 4 receiving yards with the Dolphins. I'm pretty sure. And with the Bears, he was also a drama queen, starting a bunch of fucking unnecessary BS and just saying stupid shit that made no sense. And he was garbage on the field. You know, he never really was quick. He had a good frame and good size, but not a good route runner. Can't really get separation. Any, quality NFL corner, even average NFL corner, was going to easily be able to shut him down in his day. So, obviously, Claypool's no longer employed by any NFL team, and I guess, it's good for the sake of the league, but for him, I wonder what he's doing in his free time. And that segues us to our next wide receiver, and that is Kadarius Toney. More specifically, Browns Kadarius Toney. A lot of you didn't even remember that Kadarius Toney played for the Cleveland fucking Browns. But yes, this man played for the Browns, and he didn't even have 10 receiving yards in his career with the Cleveland Browns. Kadarius Toney, another infamous cancer of a person. Just seems like one of the least swell dudes you could ever be hanging around. I don't know what his problem is. Maybe he has some mental problems or, a disorder that is completely undiagnosed. But he was also terrible, along with him being a complete, just incompetent idiot off the football field. On the football field, he was nothing special. Very average playing speed. His route running was, he just couldn't get open. His rookie year, he was decent. But once again, it's another one of these guys where the NFL figured out that, okay, well, let's do this to take him, to sort of shut him down. Or the NFL adapted to how he played at wide receiver. And he was never the same after his first year. And with all the off-field problems and him just not being a swell guy to probably be around in the locker room of an NFL team, he's an easy selection for this because we're trying to build the worst possible ever NFL teams. And we need guys who are cancers. We need guys who are terrible and just who don't contribute. So Kadarius Toney and the Browns fits that to a T. Moving on to our tight ends. And I don't think anyone's going to say, a lot of people say, well, this doesn't count. He never played a game in the regular season for this team. Our tight end is going to be Jacksonville Jaguars' Tim Tebow. He's a guy who played in the preseason for the Jags. I believe when Urban Meyer was the head coach and was released before the season, never seeing any NFL playing time at the tight end position for the Jaguars. Obviously, he was a quarterback who transitioned into a tight end because he was a shitty quarterback, and he made an even shittier tight end. Okay athlete, but he doesn't understand the fundamentals of the tight end position, and he has no hands whatsoever, and he probably doesn't know how to run routes. So it's easy. This is a grand slam pick. This is the worst possible tight end you could probably ever pick. So we have a tight end who isn't awfully quick, who can't make plays, who can't run routes, doesn't know how to run routes, doesn't understand the fundamentals of playing the position. Someone who's a shit tight end. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Tebow makes this list. Shit quarterback, even shittier tight end. Segueing into our next, which is going to be the first of 2 flex spots. And our first flex spot is going to be Arizona Cardinals, Emmitt Smith. And real ones remember this guy being on the Arizona Cardinals during the late stage of his career. I believe he spent like a year there and retired from the league. But it was all a marketing stunt, a publicity ploy, if you will, from the Arizona front office, trying to get the ticket and season ticket sales up to get people in the building to watch some Arizona Cardinal football. In the 2000s, nobody really wanted to watch the Cardinals because obviously they were, trotting out scrubs like Josh McCown at quarterback and just with the worst defenses in the league continually. Who would want to go and watch that product on the field when they're just going to win 4 games and get a top 3 draft selection in the upcoming NFL draft and then draft an average player at best with that draft pick? Nobody wanted to watch that shit, so they went out and made a quote-unquote splash signing of Emmitt Smith, who was literally on his dying legs as an NFL player. He did not have the same burst. He did not have the same speed. He did not have the same vision. He did not have the same acceleration. Nothing was the same. Pair that behind terrible quarterback play, a horrendous offensive line, and a team with no defense, and you've got a recipe for one of the worst, late-stage NFL running backs ever. He did nothing of note in a Cardinals uniform other than be a marketing stunt by the team, and that's why he's going to be our sort of backup running back, our flex in this position here. Segueing into our next flex spot for Team A, we are going with Tennessee Titans Randy Moss. I don't think this guy even got 150 yards for the Tennessee Titans. He was extremely washed, and once again, he was not the same player he was during his days, with teams such as the Patriots and the Vikings to start his NFL career. Lacked the same explosiveness, the same sort of catching ability, and everything in between. You name it, he didn't have it at this stage of his career anymore. He was a scrub, and then he played for like the 49ers, got like 100-something yards, receiving. So his career was basically over, and the Titans, I don't even know what they're thinking acquiring him, but he was a bad receiver, and that's what we're looking for in these flex spots, is bad players or washed players. So he is one of them. Randy Moss on the Titans. And then we go to our first of two defensive spots. In our first defensive spots, we're going to select Bengals cornerback Eli Apple. Mr. Get Cooked. Mr. Burnt. This guy literally was one of the worst corners when he played. He could never cover anyone. He could never get interceptions. He could never make plays on the football. He was always getting cooked by, a good receiver when he was guarding one. We can talk all day about how, Cooper Kupp cooked him on the fade route in the Super Bowl to win the championship, right? But he was just overall, and he was a cancer. Like, he talked so much shit, and he was a fucking horrible player. And he's just been a detriment to every locker room he's ever been in. And plus, he's a terrible player, with no sort of, ability to break on the football or make a play on defense. So it's very simple putting him on this list. We need a corner that's going to get cooked for touchdowns continuously and that can't get a pick save his fucking life. So Apple makes so much sense here. And that leads us to our next player, which is going to be a current player. Baltimore Ravens, Jair Alexander. This guy's beyond washed up. What is he, 28, and he can't cover anyone anymore? He gets cooked on the route. He doesn't look the same. I don't know. He used to be a lockdown corner, one of the best corners the league has to offer, but now he's just a shell of himself. And once again, we're looking for dudes who are on defense, who are going to give up big plays, who are going to get beat deep down the field. And that's what we need right there. If a team is pass happy against us, that we can get cooked in coverage, that's what we need right there. So there we go. That's Team A. Team A consists of Anthony Richardson, Trent Richardson, Chase Claypool, Kadarius Toney, Tim Tebow, Emmitt Smith, Cardinals Emmitt Smith, Titans Randy Moss, Eli Apple, and Ravens Jair Alexander. What a shit show of a team. A lot of locker room cancers, a lot of divas, a lot of bad attitudes, and a lot of terrible football players on that squad. That is, I'd say maybe they get 1 or 2 wins in a real season. They could probably luck into upsetting a team, a really badly, top 10 draft pick team. Like, they could beat the team that's going to have the 4th overall pick, luckily in overtime, like 13 to 12 or something by some fluke. But this team's not built for winning football games, and with all those personalities clashing with each other off the field and in the locker room, it's going to be a nightmare for any front office to clean up and deal with. So that's sort of the cancerous team right there. And let's go to the next team. This is just the team of scrubs. This is the team that I believe has no chance of winning a game. There's no way that Team B, the one I'm assembling now, is even going to get close. I think maybe at best they would score 20 points, but then they would give up 50 because you're going to see why. Let's segue into Team B. Let's start with Team B's quarterback, that being current Vikings quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, the Michigan product himself. This guy's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen play. He's another one with just complete erratic accuracy. He doesn't know where to go with the ball. He seems very shaken by pressure. He looks nervous in the pocket. He's not mobile. He's not athletic. He's not quick. He's got a decent frame, but he plays small from within the pocket, which means that he just looks like he's cowering all the fucking time when he sets up to throw the ball. His mechanics are really odd. His throwing motion can get elongated. You name the problems, he has all of them. He's the perfect 0-17 quarterback. This is the team that we're looking to go 0-17 with. The last one was just, let's get some divas and some shit players. This one is, listen, we just want to lose every game because I guess we feel like it, because that's the point we're trying to get across and the thing we're trying to accomplish in today's video. And J.J. McCarthy fits that to a team. We need a tank commander quarterback. He is the perfect man for the job. McCarthy is our signal caller. He's our quarterback, and that will lead us to our running back, which is Bengals draft selection, first overall. I forget what year. I think it was in like 98 or 97, or it was in the 90s, but it was Keyjana Carter, the running back out of Penn State University. This guy's knee exploded on one of the first plays, one of the first carries he got in a preseason game, and he was never the same since. He was an electric running back coming out of college, demonstrating that he could be a franchise running back for years to come for the team. But unfortunately, he sustained what was essentially a career-altering injury in, a meaningless preseason game. His knee fucking just exploded like a goddamn piñata, and his burst in speed was never the same, and you could tell he did have like a 2 or 3 year playing career after that injury in his rookie season, but let's be honest, he was never anything in the NFL. He should have been a great running back. We should still be talking about today as a legend. But no, we're talking about him as an infamous draft bust and as one of the worst running backs ever, because he was never the same. He looked like shit when he played because he was noticeably slower, and he was never a real bruiser runner. He was never a power back. He was a guy who was going to beat you with finesse and twitchiness. He was never going to beat you by running you fucking straight up, running you over straight up. So Carter makes our list as our running back. Next up is going to be our wide receivers. Wide receiver number 1 for Team B is going to be current Steelers wide receiver Roman Wilson. This guy can't get open. He's not quick. He's not big. He's not agile. He can't make plays. He can't catch. He can't catch in traffic. He probably doesn't even know the playbook. He just sucks. He's a terrible receiver. And once again, we're looking for a wide receiver 1 that we know is terrible, that we know has no production, that we know will not make plays for our team. Roman Wilson was supposed to be hyped up as a playmaker, someone who can, you can plug him into the offense and he will do his thing at the NFL level. He never has lived up to that so far. And despite people defending him, he just looks like he's going to be another classic case of a, wide receiver drafted a bit too high in the draft that never ends up living up to the hype coming out of the college ranks from Michigan as well. And, it's a good connection because Roman Wilson's a shitty NFL receiver. JJ's teammate, at Michigan was a shitty NFL quarterback. It makes fucking sense. He's not going to be able to get him the ball because he's going to be smothered by a good corner. And he's going to have the rush coming through. And he's going to make an erratic decision and throw a bunch of interceptions towards Roman Wilson's direction. So it just makes sense, right? They know each other. And that means that they're going to throw a lot of he's going to throw a lot of interceptions targeting Roman Wilson because he can't get open and he sucks. So it just makes sense, right? I probably should have included offensive line in here, but who cares, right? We're just going to imagine we're putting them behind a bottom tier NFL offensive line anyway, so McCarthy's going to get killed, probably going to get hurt, and then we'll put, we'll put Mike Glennon, Giants Mike Glennon, in the game as the backup quarterback. But regardless, let's move on to our second wide receiver in this video here, and that is a former first-round pick by the Eagles.
All right, so yeah, this is wrong. Arcega-Whiteside was actually picked in the second round of the NFL draft. For some reason, I was mistaking where he was drafted with, mixing him up with Jalen Reagor, so that's my bad. Anyways, let's continue with the video.
JJ Arcega-Whiteside. If you guys remember this dude, he was horrible. I mean, nothing he did translated well into the pros. Nothing. Everything he did in college was a fluke. And he ended up being a huge disaster of a draft choice by the Eagles. They're regretting that pick to this day because they could have had plenty of decent players that they could have selected. But they picked JJ, almost fucking me. We have 2 dudes named JJ, by the way. JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who is just absolute ass cheeks. Zero redeeming quality as a wideout whatsoever. Can't make plays. Can't do anything, really. Isn't intimidating. No DB is going to say, oh shit, I fear Arcega-Whiteside. He's a great receiver in this league. I can't be caught off guard. I've got to guard him to the best of my ability. They're going to say, no, this is a walk in the fucking park. I'm just going to do some cardio today. He's going to do some cardio today because he's going to get boxed up. He ain't getting open because he sucks. That was our second wide receiver, JJ Arcega-Whiteside on the Eagles. Our next player is our tight end, and I couldn't come up with many good ones, so I'm just going to pick a guy I remember from some of the older Maddens in 2014, 15, 16, 17, I believe. I'm going to go with Jets tight end Jace Amaro. He was never good. He has career 400 or 500, receiving yards and a couple touchdowns. He was never good. Didn't really do anything good, so once again, we're just looking for a guy who sucks and never did anything. So he's perfect. We'll just plug him in. He's not going to catch a pass probably the whole year because of our team. So Jay Samaro is our tight end. Our first flex option of the two flexes for Team B in this video is going to be Baltimore Ravens, Sammy Watkins. This is when he was getting older, his abilities were declining. He, once again, wasn't the same as he was, and plus it's not week 1 all the time, so he's not going to go crazy and get 150 yards with, on 7 catches with 2 receptions, 4 touchdowns. He was older, he lost some of his abilities, he is washed, and, he wasn't as good as he was. So once again, for our third wide receiver, and by the way, we're not going to, with our other flex, we're not going to roll with a running back because Keyshawn Carter, we're hoping his knee explodes again, so we can just put a fucking, we could put the next guy in at running back so we can really start losing games. Our next guy is, our next flex is going to be Miami Dolphins, Odell Beckham Jr. Completely washed beyond his abilities. He just, I don't know, seems like he's got an ego about him, like he thinks he's better than he really is. So he's a bit of a diva, bit of a cancer in the locker room. And he's not good, and if Carter, his knee explodes again like a piñata, he will play running back. So he is the emergency backup tailback in this offense, and we're hoping that happens because then we have an unnatural, we have a wide receiver at running back who isn't, is a bit of a fumbler, to be honest with you, and is at the late stage of his career. Then he can get hurt, and then we can put some other shit player in at running back, and then we're really set up to lose. Come on, this is the perfect team for losing. Going to our 2 defensive players, we have New York Jets Lamar Jackson. This guy's a corner. He is horrible. I don't think he's in the league anymore, but he sucks. When he was playing, he was constantly getting cooked by even the most average, a pedestrian of wide receivers in the league. And he's just a fucking terrible player. I believe he's, in like the UFL or whatever now, so good on him, but he's just simply not an NFL corner, and that's why we have him out here. He's not an NFL corner. He gets cooked. He's basically like a worse version of Eli Apple. So, realistically, this is the best possible selection. And then our final defensive player is going to be current Dolphins cornerback Storm Duck. He has a funny name. He's not very good. You don't know how good he is, so he's unproven. You could say, oh, well, then he could accidentally be good. Motherfucker, Lamar Jackson's our corner number 1, and we have an anemic offense. So it doesn't matter if he's locking down their second best receiver because Lamar Jackson's just going to get beat for big plays down the field, and we're not going to score to make up for that. So this is the perfect 0-17 team. This team has no chance of winning a game. The first team might get 2 or 3 wins. The second team, Team B, has no fucking chance of ever winning a game. Not one goddamn chance of winning one single football game. I guarantee you, Team B will never win. They won't come close. They will get beat by at minimum, 10 points every single game. At bare minimum. And I could probably stretch that to 13 or 14, and I wouldn't even be being really courteous or generous, right? So Team A, if you want me to recap, Team A is Anthony Richardson, Trent Richardson, Dolphins Chase Claypool, Browns Kadarius Toney, Tim Tebow at tight end, Cardinals Emmitt Smith, Titans Randy Moss, Eli Apple, and Ravens Jair Alexander. And Team B is JJ McCarthy, Keyshawn Carter, Roman Wilson, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, Jay Samaro, late stage career Ravens Sammy Watkins, Miami OBJ, Lamar Jackson from the Jets, and Storm Duck from the Dolphins. Those are the 2 worst teams I can assemble. Once again, you'd probably get the second overall pick with the first team, but with this second one, oh god, there's a chef's kiss fucking masterclass in building the shittiest team fucking possible. There's no way any of our receivers are going to get open. Our running back has no fucking knees. Our quarterback can't read a coverage. Our defense cannot cover anyone. Our tight end is literally a nobody. So, that's the worst team ever. I built the worst team ever. The first team is bad, but the second team is even worse. I had a lot of fun sort of making this video because just thinking of the possibilities. There were so many different players that I could have selected for this video, to be quite frank with all of you, but these are the teams I'm rolling with. I feel like these teams make sense for losing games, and the second one especially is just once again, it's the best, worst team ever. Like, there's no way anyone is losing to that team. I've seen some shitty teams win in my time, but a team that shit has no chance of ever winning. So that's going to do it for this video here today, building the worst NFL teams possible. Thank you all for watching. This has been Mr. Truth, and this was nothing but the truth.